What kind of thoughts are we allowed to have in the salah? Good question. I think the kind of thoughts you're allowed to have in the salah are the kinds of thoughts that are relevant to what you're saying in the salah. Okay. Okay, let's ask a more specific question. Is it okay to think about food in salah? Well, we've got absolute consensus here. But I'm afraid I differ from this consensus. Oh, this is very interesting. So Suleiman says if you're reciting a verse that mentions food, very good. So look at this now. So what Allah says, that's a good one. So I actually wasn't going to make that point, but thank you for raising that, right? There's actually many verses that mention food. So very specifically, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. Let a human being look to their food, meaning let them consider their food, let them think about their food, right? Let them think about their food. Now, let me make one observation. I do find it funny that basically all of the people who said no, you're not allowed to think about food, they all came first. Then when I said I'm going to differ, then all of the yes people came out afterwards. Yeah. So listen, just be bold. No, this is a safe space. Yeah, no one's going to judge anybody. So you can be bold with your views. Okay. So the thing is this, right? Is that that's a good example. So let the human being look to their food. Now, if you're reciting reflectively, how can you not think about your food, right? How can you not think about your food? Okay, and yes, the last contribution here, that it does depend on the context. That's absolutely right. If you're thinking about food in a way that is completely irrelevant or detached to your expression of gratitude, to your reflection on Allah's blessings, right? But you're basically either just hungry, in which case you probably should have maybe had a little bite beforehand, because again, that's a prophetic recommendation, of course, as we know, and I think we covered a couple of weeks back, right? But if it's completely detached from what you're doing and saying, then clearly it's a problem. But if you say, even in that very first phrase, Subhanak Allahumma bihamdi, and by the way, there's no word of a lie, because this literally occurred to me today, right? When I had lunch today, and I was in a Thai restaurant, okay, for lunch, and I had this soup. I really like this soup. It's called Tom Kha, yeah, Kha. It's my favorite soup. That's just amazing. All right, if you like Tom Kha, then let me know about it. We should create a society for Tom Kha fans. Amazing soup, right? I love it. I just drank. Just sipping that soup, and I just had like some spiritual experience. I was like, I cannot believe how lucky I am to just taste this food. Yeah, and I literally felt then like I want to do salah. Like I think I'm just an ordinary guy, to be honest. Yeah, I don't put myself forward as anything special. But that particular, and so it's not like this happens all of the time. Like I go through the same struggles and the same efforts or whatever that I'm sure we all do when it comes to our prayer and stuff. Okay, but when it comes to but just today, I just wanted to do salah. Literally, I wanted to thank Allah for that moment. It just felt and obviously in the day, so many blessings by that point already experienced, as we all innumerable blessings already experienced. But it just like really hit me. Okay, so then now in my next prayer, okay, if I'm standing there in my next prayer, and then that thought occurs to me of that lunch that I had, yeah, and just a blessing of everything about that, right? It's just right for me to be grateful and to thank Allah and to praise Him. So not only is the motivation, but even within it, for me to reflect on that. Of course, what's wrong with that? So similarly, can you think of trees? Can you think of mountains? Can you think of even relationships? Yeah, if it's relevant. Like if you say, for example, sometimes one of the points we'll make later on, it will come up perhaps maybe not this week, but in the following week, the phrase ihdina siratal mustaqim, guide us on the straight path. Okay, as I said, it's earlier, the idea is to make these phrases your own. Now look, you literally are you're going to say the phrase guide us on the straight path like thousands of times, like at least tens of thousands. No, not even, it's more than that actually. If you actually calculate it, it's going to be a lot more. But you're going to say guide us on the straight path potentially 300,000 times in your life. Like, and life will take you in all sorts of places, right? Ups and downs and this and that, and all sorts of stuff going on. There's just, it's the most unnatural thing. It would be the most unnatural thing in the world for you not to actually think of different things when you say guide us on the straight path each time, right? Because in that particular moment, there's some particular challenge with regards to your guidance or whatever. And if you're thinking consciously about what you're saying, and in between your prayers, you're trying genuinely to journey towards Allah, like you're trying to actually go on that path, then you'll become more conscious of the struggles and the difficulties and what have you, right? So sometimes when you say guide us on the straight path, you'll be thinking, well, I need specific help in the context of a certain relationship for that to be mended, right? Or that I need to be more, I know that I need to be stronger and more disciplined to keep away from a certain bad habit. And you're thinking about that particular thing when you say guide us on the straight path, or you need to persevere more and be more persistent in pursuing your goals and ambitions, right? For the sake of Allah, whatever it might be. Or that you've realized that, I'm really not engaging much with the Quran, or I'm not really understanding much of what's in it. So when you say guide us on the straight path, you're asking Allah to help you with that. Now, therefore, you could think about a lot of different things potentially. So I think I've answered this question, and I think in a fair amount of depth. I've given it a lot of time. It's a very good question. It's a very important question. But listen, guys, it's like actually, lots of these questions, the answer's obvious when you actually just think about this in a really just natural way. While you're communicating with another person, it's very natural for you to think about things in the back of your mind, even in the front of your mind, which aren't expressly said, but relate to what you're discussing. Isn't it? That's the case. There's a really interesting discussion in relation to this. Can you get ideas in Salah? Can you actually have ideas in Salah? I have had that many times, many times, like inspirations in Salah. And then afterwards, like I feel clear on something, clearer than I started. But isn't that like the point? If you're going through a process of engaging with your Lord, right? Remember that analogy, checking in with the boss. And you're asking for guidance, you feel lost, but but afterwards you feel clearer, and you feel like you've had like some inspiration. Isn't that precisely what should be happening? One of they would say about Umar radiallahu anhu that he planned one of the major battles, right, of the believers in his Salah. Like they were discussing strategy and whatever, they prayed, and afterwards he said, now I'm clear on what we need to do. So, it's I think there's a lot more life in the prayer than we give it credit for.